Hello, kitties. It's Tuesday, so that means it's terrible triple feature time again. And this week we've got a good one. This week we will be looking at horror movies that double as after-school specials. Hopefully, you guys watching these films will see the mistakes that the main characters make in them and come up with better decisions for your own lives that involve, less murder. Not no murder, but just, less. Our menu includes the original Carrie, Return of the Living Dead Part 3, and Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2, Freddy's Revenge. And I just want to make it clear before we start, the subject matter of these films, I'm not in any way trying to make fun of them or find humor in anybody actually going through any of this. I just find it, peculiar to the point of amusing that the supernatural becomes a metaphor for these issues in the films, which is just, that's funny. But if any of you are going through this, please know that all of this stuff in the teenage years will get better. So just hang on for now. And if you can, watch a lot of horror movies, because that always helped me. First is Brian De Palma's adaptation of Stephen King's Carrie, starring Sissy Spacek as the titular and every so often nude Carrie White. We start this one off because it's made in the 70s, so it has much more of an actual after-school special feel to it. And it's also a twofer because we have a very strong message about women going through one of the first big changes of their lives, the young women becoming, full-grown women. Carrie is finally getting her period and thus becoming a full-fledged grown-up woman, and as a result she's going to have just, one would hope, new confidence and stronger power in her life. This is presented in the film as mental murder powers, telekinesis, which is an actual superpower instead of the whole power of being able to have children, which is pretty damn awesome, or so I've heard. The monthly menstruation thing, I think, is pretty awful, from what I've heard. The film is kind of terrible in the sense that it makes what is a perfectly natural part of your life seem like the worst thing possible. I understand, any change is going to be scary, but Jesus Christ, she goes completely insane and ends up murdering her entire graduating class. So hopefully you teenage girls can figure out a better way to deal with it than, mass murder. I mentioned this as a twofer. There's also a very strong anti-bullying theme in this film, because as it turns out, you really shouldn't bully anybody because it's terrible and you're all going through the same shit together. But you really, really shouldn't, because you never know who's going to end up with, mental murder powers, like Carrie. And, everything that happened as a result of dumping some pig's blood on her. I understand it's just a little prank. But again, learn from Carrie's mistake. Don't kill anybody. Just get through everything. And don't be a bully. That's just shitty. Next we have Return of the Living Dead Part 3. No subtitle. Directed by Brian Yuzna. In this one we have rebellious teens that are also, the children of horrible Defense Department experimentation labs working on, once again, 2,4,5-trioxin, the substance that makes zombies in the Return of the Living Dead series, which, you recall, is an offshoot of the original Romero Dead movies. Military scientists are trying to figure out how to weaponize and handle safely zombies. Oddly enough, it doesn't go well. But it goes even worse for the son of the main scientist because he's a rebellious teenager who's tired of being a military brat. And his girlfriend dies, but he knows that there is some substance that'll bring people back to life. So he exposes Melinda Clark, playing Julie, to the 2,4,5-trioxin and brings her back to life. Now, the thing is, she's a zombie now. And in the Return of the Living Dead zombies, they're somewhat conscious of what they are, and they retain the bulk of their personality. She doesn't really know what's going on with her body right now, but she does know that she has a ravenous hunger for human flesh. How does she deal with this? She deals with this by causing herself pain. She starts cutting on herself and mutilating her body as a means to control her urges and or distract herself. And I was watching it last week when it occurred to me that this is actually working as a perfect metaphor for self-mutilation, cutting. But it was bizarre that this parallel occurred, seemingly unintentionally, because they don't make a big deal out of it, but it's fairly consistent throughout the film. So instead of, what in real life would be, dealing with emotional stress, and you're dealing with being a zombie. And it's sort of funny, but kind of just bizarre. Finally brings us to my personal favorite, Nightmare on Elm Street 2, Freddy's Revenge, or as I like to think of it, I was a teenage were-Freddy. Jesse has moved into 1428 Elm Street after the events of the first film. And the thing is, he doesn't know he's gay. It's hard to tell a lot of things about yourself 100%, especially if you're being raised in Ohio with a fairly conservative-minded family. So I don't think Jesse knows what's going on with himself. He has these urges. These urges manifest themselves as Freddy killing people. And it's pretty funny. It was completely unintentional, but once you see it, you can't not see it. The way Jesse will run away from women, run towards men. There are a lot of locker room scenes. There's a sequence in an S&M bar. Shower scenes, just with men. And it seems that whenever Jesse would have, a natural urge or attraction to a man, he can't deal with it. He turns into Freddy and murders somebody. Look at the boathouse sequence where he's making out pretty hot and heavy with his female love interest, and Freddy emerges to kind of scare him away from her. And then he runs over to his best man friend, who not only has a Limahl poster in the background, but has pseudo-pleather sheets, which is interesting. And, they're having their sleepover, and the urges emerge, and Jesse literally turns into Freddy and murders him. They're clearly meant to be together, but Jesse cannot handle who he is yet. And as a result, kills a lot of people. And that's the really horrible thing about all of these films. Granted, nobody would think to use these films as an explanation or a way to show teenagers how to deal with their problems, but there's a lot of underlying parent panic in all of these films. The parents are always concerned. But then again, maybe all of these movies are presenting the extreme reaction to these situations as a warning for not just the teenagers, but the parents as well, to help everybody deal with these trying times in teenagers' lives. Teens, remember, it will get better. Murder is not the answer. Horror movies are, though. Horror movies are a good time.